What I know to be true is that masking, that pretending to be somebody other than exactly who you are is freaking exhausting.
You're now seeing like with XAI, Meta's AI, as the AIs are now controlling the.
As a founder, I have stepped more into my values than I ever would have felt comfortable doing.
Sometimes, like, if you believe something, it's okay for you to put that out there. Hey guys, what's up? It's Coach Carroll. Welcome to another episode of the Sales Factory. Today in the Sales Factory, I'm thrilled to welcome Leslie Venetz, founder of the Sales-Led GTM agency and one of LinkedIn's top voices when it comes to sales. She's got over 15 years experience leading enterprise sales teams and closing with powerhouses like Walmart, ExxonMobil, and JP Morgan. Leslie turned her experience into a mission, helping organizations transform their go-to-market strategies through authentic conversations and connection-based selling. She's the driving force behind the Sales-Led GTM agency, training teams across industries to shift from talking at prospects to talking with them, a philosophy that's earned her global recognition. A USA Today top 50 author for her book, Profit Generating Pipeline. You know, I like them full pipelines. Leslie's passion for her sales meets empathy and leadership, and it's exactly what we're here to talk about today. Please welcome Leslie Venetz to the Sales Factory. Leslie, happy to have you.
I'm just happy to be here.
Fantastic. You got corporate America experience. Now you're helping, other businesses outside of corporations. You got a book. You are the perfect guest to come in and chat it up with me for a bit here in the Sales Factory. I'm like chomping at the bit to see which one of these I want to talk about. So let's talk about the book first, because if no one's read it or hasn't heard about it, what's it about and why should they go get a copy of that?
Yeah, so it's a three-part book. The first part is a bit of a kind of leadership philosophical take, but it undercuts like trust being the foundation of sales. And I talk a lot, if anybody follows me on LinkedIn, about earn the right as my sales philosophy. So it is just desperately begging sellers and sales leaders before they show up to that discovery call, send that email to ask themselves, what have I done to earn the right to ask for this person's attention, time, consideration, and business? And then in part two, I go through my full 9-step formula for top of funnel for generating a profitable pipeline. It's what I teach with my clients. And so I put it into book form. So it's everything from deciding who to talk to, what to say to them, where to say it, through to hosting great discovery meetings that create, super qualified pipe.
Love that. And let's talk about your transition, like from enterprise sales to now like founder and coach. Are you still only working with enterprise level clients, or now you working with SMBs and entrepreneurs? Like, what's kind of your target market now?
Yeah, 30 to 50 million, and they should be generating about half of their net new revenue from outbound. Like I really
Oh,
have been
wow.
focused on like outbound heavy orgs.
All right.
And so by default, I tend to not do as much work with like PLG orgs. It also like I
What's
started
PLG stand for?
not profit generating pipeline. I'm just stuck on the book. It's anybody that has like a freemium type
Okay.
model. So it's
Okay.
product led growth, meaning
Okay.
people can easily sign up for the product. And then like HubSpot's a perfect example where you sign up for free and then suddenly you're giving them like $1,000 a year. I say as a HubSpot customer.
I, Now I can totally
Uh,
relate. Our Alley program is that the same way. We've got a free account where you get 10 free leads a month and then you can upgrade to other ones. So it makes perfect sense.
That's exactly right. Yes, it's I heard somebody say ages ago like PLG is the like SaaS gate tech term for the artist formerly known as freemium.
Yep. Yeah. No, I can totally track with that.
Yeah, so when I first left corporate to do this work full time, and I'd been doing it as like a side hustle prior, I said 10 to 50 million. And what I realized is that to be most impactful when I was working with clients, that I needed to go up channel even a little bit more so that they were generating enough revenue from outbound that like I could really come in and work with a sizable team. I'm also finding that they are more likely to still be running full cycle sales AE motions, not just a SDR to AE alignment. And I do love working with a full cycle sales team.
break
So
break that down for
yeah.
us. You'll notice in this podcast I love just double clicking because I got everybody from guys that run $10 million insurance books of business down to the dude that's 13 years old, just started his lawn care business. So we're
Oh,
trying to help
cool.
everybody.
Oh my God, cool. Okay. So I grew up as a full cycle AE, and all that means is that you are responsible for everything from prospecting, like deciding who to reach out to, finding their contact information, making that contact, setting the meeting, running the entire sales cycle, and closing them.
Oh wow, okay.
And so, right? So I think that that's, if we look at most traditional sales jobs, that's what most of us are doing. Like if you're in real estate, that's what
Or a
you're
full
doing. You're
cycle
fine, you're
AE.
right,
Yeah.
you're full
Yep.
cycle.
Yep.
If you're working even at like a car dealership, like you are taking it from hello through to close. So I think most sales professionals are full cycle sales reps. I think it's the purest form of a sales job.
Okay.
And because that's the environment I grew up in before I later in my career switched to SaaS, which is very likely to have an SDR AE alignment, meaning one
Yep.
person that sets the meetings and then one person that takes the meetings and runs the sales cycle. I serve both, but I do have a soft spot for the full cycle AE role.
Which one do you think's more effective?
I think it depends on your price point and
Mm,
how big your total addressable market is, or like how many people you can go after.
okay.
If you have a really small total addressable market, you really do not want to have SDRs, in my opinion, because like that you if you only have 500 total accounts that you can sell to, you don't need an SDR. Like you don't
Right.
need somebody trying to do kind of a volume play to get meetings. You need somebody that can be really thoughtful and strategic about all of the outreach. And then like if I was the customer buying something at like a very high price point, I wouldn't want to feel like I was constantly getting handed off, right? Like I would really
Right.
want to feel like somebody, the same person was taking me through that entire process. So
To build that
I think in
relationship.
that 100%. So I think in that, like if it is a small account group or if it's a high price point, I really prefer to only see full cycle AE. If it's more transactional, maybe a larger group, the SDR AE alignment makes a ton of sense. And then there's a huge amount of nuance for everybody in between.
Yeah, I love that. Cool. Sorry, I love squirreling off on paths and just like double clicking. So I don't know why I apologize. I shouldn't
I'm a
apologize because
fan. No,
it makes for great
I
content for my
it
audience.
makes for
But
great content. And I think if I was like a meme, I would be Doug the dog from the movie Up when he sees the squirrel. So I'm with you on that. I'm like, oh, a rabbit hole we can go down. Let's do it.
I love that. If I was a meme, that should be a t-shirt. Let's talk about authenticity because oftentimes when I'm speaking on stage or I'm talking to entrepreneurs and I'm talking to them about building a brand, a lot of times I see the biggest problem is they're unwilling to draw their line in the sand, meaning like sometimes like if you believe something, it's okay for you to put that out there, right? Unless your brand is like, hey, I'm the
Mm,
Green Party, so I'll never talk politics. Fine, that's your line in the sand, right? You'll never go over there, so you stay over here. But I also think that it's super important in a world of social media clicks and likes and follows that oftentimes authenticity can maybe go by the wayside because I see grown ass men still acting like they're in high school, right? They're afraid of what people in the cafeteria are going to say about them. Talk to us about authenticity in sales because honestly, I think that's one of my biggest superpowers. Is like I am who I am. You get who you get, and if you don't like it, that's totally okay with me too. How do you see that playing into sales and the greater picture of the people that you work with?
yeah, authenticity in sales. Such an important question. And I don't think that we're the only two asking about it, thinking about it. What I know to be true is that masking, that pretending to be somebody other than exactly who you are is freaking exhausting.
Right.
Like authenticity, while it can be scary, And certainly while you have to like, I think, be thoughtful about how you navigate how much of yourself you want to put out in the world as you're finding your voice. Um, it like that's a challenge, but like at the end of the day, authenticity takes less emotional and mental work. So I encourage everybody to like find their voice and go that route. Here's a couple of other things I know. Like in corporate, you do not always have the privilege of being authentic, both in the workplace and definitely even on your personal social medias. So there is a point to be made that like, sure, be authentic, but if you like need this job to pay the mortgage,
Right.
like me, like maybe just don't go like whole hog
Yeah, I
today.
agree.
I also think that something that people get really wrong about authenticity is that they think authenticity is the same as oversharing. And that's like dead wrong. Authenticity and oversharing are not the same thing. Like I don't care what you had for dinner unless you're like writing a cookbook or you're like cooking your way through French classics. Like unless there's a reason that you're telling me what you had for dinner and it's giving me this opportunity to see like behind the curtains and connect with you. Like don't just post your weird ass dinner on LinkedIn. That's not authenticity. That's just like meaningless content.
Mm.
And then the last thing I would say is that as a founder, I have stepped more into my values than I ever would have felt comfortable doing in corporate America.
I can believe
Um,
that.
yeah, and it has though, to your point, like it has cost me deals, it has cost me business. But like I'm 10 toes down
Yeah,
on the
it's the best
things
way to
that
be.
I believe.
Yeah.
And here and tell me how you feel about this, but like if somebody is so opposed to my values, like the things that I deeply believe to be true and important in my heart of hearts, I don't want their money anyways. Like that's not the right person for me to be working with.
Yeah, I would say this is something that has definitely cost me money. But this is also why I say since I was 18 years old, I'm completely unemployable. Is that for me, I am very much like through and through an entrepreneur, meaning I don't like structure. I don't like authority. I don't like being told what I can and can't do. And on the premise of that, I am very open about what I believe in. And for me, it's cost me money. You would think like, oh, this guy's, maybe he's a little more conservative. He thinks smaller government. He likes his guns, and he brags about his wife being hot. Like people on the left would like, listen. I've called Trump a sellout when the big beautiful bill went through, right? Made a post about that, and I lost a client that was like, I don't like how you're talking about our president. I was like, well, what did I say that upset you? Because one of the things I learned from Hank Norman, who was one of my media coaches early on, was it's okay to create polarizing content as long as you then do something with it, right? Because if on social
Mm,
media you're going to make a splash to get a reaction, don't be upset when the reaction happens. Have a plan for it, right? And so, for instance, here, a few months ago, we lost a client because of it, because I made the post, and she said, I don't like what you said." And I said, "Well, I'm sorry. What exactly was it that I said that made you upset?" She was like, "Well, I don't want to talk about it." It's like, okay, well, then let's just be mad to be mad, I guess, right? And so for me, I very much agree with you that, Leslie, if someone doesn't align with my values, if they are going to get upset with me very easily, I'm okay if they find somebody else to work with. Because the beautiful thing is, like, I work with SMBs, like there's 30 plus million entrepreneurs out there. Like there's plenty of people for me to work with. I'm not in a 500-person
yep.
market. Now, I totally get this. If you work for J&J in Cincinnati and you're an account rep and there's only, 2 dozen potential clients, like, yeah, you're probably going to lose your job if you post some of the shit that I post, right?
Yeah, like
And you
maybe
so
don't
you've
be
got to
popping
balance
off
that.
about abolish billionaires if you work for a Fortune
Right.
100 company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe keep that as an inside thought that
Right.
goes in your diary, not on your LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, oftentimes I kind of align with the strategy of like, at least now you know me. Because I tell small businesses all the time, they think they've got a world of problems. Their biggest problem most of the time is not enough people know who they are and what they sell. They don't make a big enough wave. They don't make enough noise in the marketplace. And so then you're just a wallflower, and you're going to be like everybody else. And when you're like everybody else, then guess what? Now you got to compete on price, right? Because like it's like you're a commodity, and bananas get traded on price because they're a commodity. So to me, I've got clients on the left and the right. Maybe they don't always agree with me, but they say, DJ, I know you're the exact same fucking dude every time we get on a call, and I don't shove it down people's throats, and I don't expect you to believe what I believe, but I do expect that we can be adults and still be friends, right? I feel like we live in such a polarizing world now that it's like you're either with me or against me. It's like, nah, like we can just kind of hang out in the same room together and still be adults here. And so I think that's where authenticity comes across. I couldn't imagine, Lindsay, if on every single sales call I had to be like, okay, now I got Lindsay next. How was I acting to her? What was her belief system? What do I have to chameleon with? Like, oh my gosh, no way, dude.
Um, that would be exhausting. But I think like that goes back to the like masking and pretending to be something that you aren't.
Yeah.
That's going to burn you out, and then you won't be able to serve any of your customers, right?
Mm,
And I think one of the blessings of being an entrepreneur is that we don't need to close every single, right? Like we're not being assigned a set of accounts by our boss, and they're like, you need to work through this set of 500 accounts, and if you don't close at least this percentage, I'm going to put you on a pip. Like I
mm.
feel extraordinarily confident that there are enough people out there that I want to work with, that see my views, that still want to work with me, that there's just enough counts. And like if I'm being totally honest, there are people that I absolutely would not work with. Like there are people that post content and I unfollow them because I don't want to see it. I don't need them to see my content and benefit. Like there are
Yeah.
people that I'm like, nope, we're too far apart. I don't owe you space in my life. I don't owe you space on my social media. That is not my responsibility to you. um it's interesting. I spoke at an event last 2 weeks ago. And one of the things that we talked about was, I think this is really pertinent to SMBs when you were talking about that being the client base that you served. It made me want to share it. That we were talking about how folks tend to be okay at talking about and sharing on social media their expertise when it comes to like the problems they solve, their domain expertise. Like for me on LinkedIn, I'm giving tips on how to run discovery meetings, on how to build a prospect list, etc. Right? Like I'm constantly coming from this place of expertise. And that tells people that you have a point of view, that you can solve problems, but that does not tell people whether or not they would want to work with you. Like
Mm.
there's so many people out there that have similar expertise, and nobody wants that like death by commoditization. And so the only way we can really stand out in this crowded market is by being very truly and honestly ourselves, so that people see our content and they're like, he seems like a cool dude. Like let's see what his take is on this.
Right. I also think in social media now, because it's not social anymore, it's more interest graph based, meaning that TikTok is what caused this. Is the reason why TikTok became so addictive and why the user growth was so fast is because it used what you were watching and what you were engaging with to show you more of that, not just
Yeah.
who is your social graph, meaning like degrees of removal of friends. And so you're now seeing like with XAI, Meta's AI, as the AIs are now controlling the feeds, you're starting to see that, right? So like if you're listening to this right now, think for a moment, over the last several months, you've probably in your Facebook news feed started to see groups that you're not actually in, but you're seeing content from them. Pages that you don't follow, but you're seeing content from them. And that is because Meta is trying to ride the wave that TikTok created, where you could, you watch one elephant video. Well, guess what? They're going to show you something and then another elephant video. And if you watch that elephant video, well, now your next three ones are going to be elephant videos, right? And so it's interest related. So I actually think it's beneficial for small businesses to expand on the content that you post other than just like, this is what I do and why I'm so good at it. Like, for me, I guess I'll pivot off of your like food comment. Like, I don't care what you have for dinner. I do if like if it's standoutish, right? Like if you eat your steak well done or like blue, right? Like, okay, most people eat it medium well. Like that's not going to stand out. But if you're like crazy and you eat it like a piece of leather, or if you like you eat it where it's like not cooked at all, and then you ask your audience, how do you eat your, like, watch what'll happen. They'll start arguing in the comments on like what's better than, and now you're just getting free impressions, right? It's like free advertising. And so for me, like I think, being able to expand on content and share things that are of interest to you. And the other thing is like, I think people want to follow people that are interesting. You want to get interest in your brand, be an interesting brand.
Yeah.
If Leslie, if you were just posting the same thing about, like, if all you did was just post about discovery meetings, like, sure, that might help you get found, but like, I think you're probably posting about more than just that, right? Like maybe there's a story or something that you share that would make you stand out. And which, by the way, a little segue here, I am curious, what was the biggest lesson that you learned? We kind of talked about full cycle AEs, but like, what's maybe one of the biggest lessons you learned from working with those like SDR AE team models? Because like we run like that, we didn't used to. Dan Martell and SaaS Academy has kind of changed our way of looking at that and saying, okay, we need to run more SDRs and AEs. So I'm curious, like, what's your biggest lesson maybe that you've taken away from working with SDRs and AEs?
Biggest lesson from working with SDR AE alignment orgs is that you need to have an extraordinary clear qualifying criteria.
Ooh.
It's so rare. Like I go into these organizations and I'm like, oh, like it's twofold. One, I go into these organizations and I'm like, okay, who's your ICP? And they're like, anybody that's a director level or above in finance in these 7 industries. And I'm like, that's not an ICP. That's like your entire like sales
Yeah.
obtainable market.
Businesses, Leslie. Businesses is my
It's the
ICP, right?
businesses. I want the people with the money, Leslie. And so like one of the things I do is I work really hard to help organizations understand they don't have a ICP. Like that's a marketing term. We don't need that in sales. We have multiple ICPs and they are ideal for different reasons that are specific to what's going on in their universe that makes now
Hmm.
the right time to talk to us, now the right time to buy.
I
So
love
I
that.
like that's a really important mindset shift, I think. And then the step beyond that is okay, like now you have this niche down list where you're going after this very specific set of people because you are 99% sure they have this problem that makes now the right time to buy. And then you still need to make sure that your SDRs and your AEs have crystal clear expectations about what a good lead looks like. Because what never works is organizations that don't have that and then also give AEs the ability to just reject the meetings that SDRs put in their calendar, that there's not that like completely objective criteria. And it creates tension, it wastes time, it creates confusion, it pisses off prospects.
So
So it's
it would just be
qualifying criteria,
subjective to the AE, like if they wanted to take the call or not.
literally.
That's crazy. I can't even believe that exists. If you would have asked me if I think there's any organizations that do that, I'd be like, no, like that's nuts.
A shocking, but like here's the thing though, they often don't realize it because you'll ask them, do you have an ICP? They say yes. You ask them, do they have a qualifying criteria? They say yes. And
Mm.
then you dig in and they're like, well, our qualifying criteria is BANT. And then you're like, okay, but more specifically, like, what does that mean? What is the right timeline? And then like the AE thinks it's in the next 3 months, the SDR thinks it's in the next year.
Do
The
you
AE,
mind? Do you
right?
mind
Like, yeah, go
breaking?
ahead.
Can you break down Bant for my audience?
Yeah. So it's I don't even know how old it is, like many decades old
Yeah.
sales qualifying criteria. I think it got popularized by IBM in like the 70s
Oh
maybe.
gosh.
But it is like budget, authority, needs, timing. And so if you are BANT qualifying a prospect, it means if you were an SDR before you put the introductory meeting in the AE's calendar, you would need to confirm that they have the budget to spend on what you're selling, that they have the authority to make the purchase, they have the need, like there's a product market fit, and then it's something, the timing, it's something that they're interested in thinking about purchasing now rather than down the line. But even within that, and I'm not even totally anti-band, but like what specifically does timeline mean? What
Right.
specifically does authority mean? Is authority that they influence their decision, or are they the ultimate decision maker signing the check? So there's like just that lack of clarity, and people kind of
Yeah.
like slap terms or slap qualifying criteria onto their team's activities without really taking the time to build like a strategy and repeatable processes around it that provide the clarity that those SDRs and AEs need to work together best. It just doesn't doesn't ever end well.
Yeah. It's, I mean, to me, I've had to learn these things over time. I think it's like coming from the blue collar space. Like I started my audience knows this. I started my first business my senior year of high school, turned down 8 football scholarships, started my own grass. My parents thought I was crazy. I grew that to 3 million and sold it. Being a local service business, I still have a power washing and window cleaning business, operates in the Midwest and Southeast. Um, when you're a local service business and you service residential and commercial customers, like an ICP is really not that important, right? It's like, hey, will you pay our minimum price? Like we have a minimum trip charge. Above and beyond that, as long as we can do the service, like you're our customer. It wasn't until I really got into like the software space, and like with my agency, and then now building Alley, our software platform, is like, holy shit, is like an ICP important? Because like we would do these big webinars and people would buy, and like I would have a crazy high close rate, and then they would like churn out 2 months later, 3 months later, and we're like, why are they churning out? Like the product's great. And then we had no cancellation capture system, so then we put one of those in place, and then people are like, oh yeah, it's not you, it's me, right? It's like the old girlfriend breakup thing, where it's like, it's not you, it's me. And it's like, we would go back to them, and like we found out that there was just a lot of let's just call it immature business owners that were making it through
Mhm.
the net because of the sales platform we were using, meaning webinars, where it was like we got to the pitch. If whoever signed up could sign up, there was not really a qualification piece. And then so like it was making our churn really look worse than it was, right? So we'd have like a big onset of sales, and then there'd be like the sharp decline of churn. And for like 3 months, we're like, this thing's going to zero. And then it like levels out. And it's like, oh. And so we had to like go through these processes and learnings. And so if you're one of my listeners and you're in the blue collar space and you're like, what the fuck is an ICP? What is all this? Like, some of this is very much for bigger organizations or for tech related things. Like, if you're like a lawn care guy, like, yes, fucking take every customer you can, because then later on down the road you can raise your prices and then you'll start filtering out your bad customers.
Totally.
But and I think it's important that I give my listeners that context, Leslie, because
Yeah.
oftentimes some of these things, I'm seeing this a lot with like managerial stuff, because you hear about EOS and things like that. Like sometimes I think businesses try to get too big too quick, meaning they try to put a lot of this stuff in when really you just need more customers, right? Like just get more customers, because then you get more money, and like money solves 99.9% of all problems in the business. Am I off track there? I'd love to hear your take
No,
or
no, no.
input on that.
You're totally right. Two ways to think about it. One is always remember that if it's not repeatable, it is not scalable. And so
Hmm.
people do try to like scale to the moon because they had like one idea that sort of worked. But if it's not repeatable, like you're not ready to start scaling your business. And I think for maybe smaller businesses, the folks that are like the entrepreneurs that are contributing to their local market. So essentially, a good
Hmm.
way to think about it is marketing versus sales. And so when I think about sales as an outbound activity, if you are reaching out to people, like if you are hiring somebody to like pick up the phone and send the emails, and you are spending money on that infrastructure and on that headcount, you want to do your level best to make sure that the people that you are spending money to reach out to are most likely to get some ROI, to be interested in you. And that
Love
it's not
that.
that that's not true on marketing, but like if I'm a lawn care business in my hometown of Great Falls, Montana, and I want to send out a direct mailer, like I'm literally sending it out to every single person with a lawn.
Right.
Right? Like I'm just not going to be that precious about like, okay, well, their lawn is not 30 square feet, so I'm taking them off my list.
Right.
Right. Or if
And
I'm like, if I'm putting some ad spend, like I'm putting it to ad spend that's going to contact anybody in the community.
mhm.
So I'm going to be slightly less precious about my ICP
I love that
if I'm
framework.
doing marketing. Yeah.
No, that's spot on. I like to, you said an entrepreneur contributing to your local market. I like that, because that really does put like a bow around that, right? Like it's just a different business model, and that's totally okay. Because I was on Tommy Mello's podcast last year. He runs A1 Garage Doors. They'll probably do 300 million bucks this year, massive, probably one of the
Get it,
largest garage
Tommy.
door companies in the U.S. PE backed. I mean, the dude's scaling it. He's getting into windows and doors now, trying to get to $1 billion a year revenue company. And I told him, I said, I in this world of social media, I don't feel like we give enough flowers to the entrepreneurs that, you know, take home 150 grand a year, but never miss a dance recital, never miss a little league game.
Mm,
Have a couple of team members in their company and are happy. Because for me, man, it's like whatever makes you happy is what you should chase. Like, I think people get so caught up in scaling and just going to the moon and growing a massive company. It's like, do you really want that? Like, do you really need $100 million a year company, right? Like, do you really need a $50 million a year company? Like, I think entrepreneurs need to get a better grasp on what their end game is. Otherwise, man, you're just going to be chasing the next thing for your entire life and then show up at the end. And I think you'll be woefully unfulfilled.
yeah.
Life's pretty serious. None of us make it out alive. And so I think you got to do something that you love, figure out what you want to do and go chase that. Let's turn this back because I'm curious. I love Outbound. Okay, Leslie, like, love it. My first book I ever wrote was called Phenomenal Phone Calls, the gritty guide to closing big money deals over the phone. The three biggest exterior cleaning projects Easy Pro, my company, has ever done has come from cold calling. Okay. I'm a huge fan of it. In the beginning, especially for entrepreneurs, you got more time than you got money. So pick up the fucking phone, get a little rejection in your face, and build some scabs on you as an entrepreneur, because most people are soft when they come into the game. I want to know, like, what, like, give us some secrets. Like, I want to challenge you here. Like, what's like the best
Yeah.
like outbound advice that you could give to my audience?
I mean, you already said the best outbound advice that I can give, which is pick up the fucking phone.
Let's go.
Like, but like, I don't think that it is, like, I know that that sounds silly and we're being playful, but like
It's
the
real.
volume of people, it's so real. The volume of people I talk to, and I don't even mean like people that I am like serving, or maybe people that are coming inbound that I'm talking to, but just like other founders who do want to grow their business, who do want to scale, who don't have an inbound lead funnel that is sufficient enough to hit their revenue goals. And then I'm like, cool, like what are you doing? And they're like, well, I messaged some people on Facebook. I'm like, okay. Okay, pick up the fucking phone. So I I
but,
do think
but
that that is
Leslie, they
like
tell me
really
no and they
important
hang up
advice.
on me.
I know. I know. Here are a couple of really timely things that I can tell folks right now. Um, the phone, if that's the only thing you're doing, it's gonna work, but not the way that you want it to. Like, you're probably going to burn yourself out if the only thing that you are doing to grow your business is the phone. So make sure that you are also, like, if you are a local business, you're going to networking events, or you're sending out mailers, or maybe you are doing a little like local ad spend. Like, I don't know, maybe you put like a flyer on your business, maybe you sponsor a local DATS company. Like, I don't know exactly what's going to like mesh with your brand and make a difference in your community, but do cold calls and at least one or two other things, so that people are seeing your brand or seeing your presence on multiple channels. That's true if you're doing like an enterprise sale as well. I call it channel of choice. And the thinking behind it is that you are optimizing for giving prospects the opportunity to engage with you where they're most comfortable, like their preferred channel of choice. So it's sort of that same thinking, like interact with them in multiple places so that you optimize for hitting them in the place where they're most likely to be like, oh yeah. So that is one thing I would say. The other is that the new iOS rollout for iPhones, it's like a couple months old now, but I'm hearing from reps like more than ever that they are calling people's iPhones and they are getting screened by the iPhone call screening. So one of the biggest tips that I would make for people right now, they should do it today, is write a mini script so that when you get screened by an iPhone, You have your script in front of you. You have a maximum of 20 seconds.
Ooh.
Then the prospect gets the real-time transcription pushed to their phone. And so you're getting like you're playing into some of that like kind of like text connect rates where they're going to read it because it's getting pushed to their phone in real time. They're going to pick up their phone, they're going to look at the transcript, and then they decide whether or not to pick up.
Hmm.
So even if they don't pick up, it's still this incredible opportunity to like get something said in that transcript, but you got to keep it tight. Like you have a maximum 20 seconds. You can't be like, "Oh, hey, DJ, it's Leslie over at like lead with some social proof, lead with some relevance, tell them exactly why they should take the time to chat with you." But if you don't already have a script for that, like if you're already prepared for that, do that today.
Yeah, love that. Love that so much. I love the triple dial. I know it's like crazy, like it takes some kahunas to do that, but like if you dial, they don't answer, hang up, don't leave a voicemail, dial them back, they don't answer, hang up, dial them back the third time. A triple
I would
dial.
never.
You've never done that?
I would never do that. I did it like when I was
Oh,
in my 20s and I was a deeply unhinged person.
yeah, I'm
But
hungry out here, Leslie.
now I don't, absolutely not. Maybe my
Okay.
anxiety is just too high, DJ, but
No, let's hear it.
if somebody double taps me, let alone triple taps me, I'd be like, who's dead? Who's died? So I am not going to do that to other people. But I will say on a multi-channel sequence, I love a quad tap on day one, which usually looks like a phone call with a voicemail if they don't pick up, an email, a LinkedIn Connect message, and a LinkedIn InMail. So I'm not above
All
like
on day
a
one.
a
See now, like
head,
I'm gonna say you're going stalker status on that one. So it's like you hit me on all.
but
I'm,
I
I'm
think
joking because I think massive action is severely underrated, and I think it's easier to break through the noise now than it's ever been because the sales gusto just continues to fall off, right? Like as more of these Gen Zers, like I'm a millennial, but like as you get, and now it's like these like people are so introverted because they just live on their phones all day and they don't talk to people. It's like I think it is easier to break through now, and if you can build communication skills so that you can like actually talk to people, it's insane how easy it is to get people on the phone. And if you'll overcome an objection, like I used to like, I can just remember in the early days, like, I mean, I started my business in '07. Like, you're talking like 2009, 2010. Like, if I got on the phone with somebody and they're like, no, and I try to fight the objection, they would just like hang up on me. And I feel like the empathy of the culture has just increased where it's like, it's a lot harder to get hung up on now. And maybe that's maybe my skill levels have went up, so it makes it a little
yeah,
easier.
I was like,
But
that
like,
might be personal to you. But I would guess that you've gotten a lot better at like reading the room, asking the right question, like mirroring their personality.
yeah.
So, but like let's put that out there. We'll just manifest that it's
Yeah.
harder to get hung up. But we'll put that into the universe. I'm here for it.
I'll tell you one of my pet peeves. I literally just saw a kid on Instagram because you're starting to see all these like these young kids are getting into life insurance and like they're trying to recruit their like downline sales team by like posting their calls on social media. And I'm like, holy
Yeah.
smokes, dude. It's like from a like, and I know you're the same spot. Like from a sales coach perspective, I'm just like cringe, bro. Like the worst thing I think you can say is with if you use the word just in the first 10 seconds, 15 seconds of the call, hey Leslie, it's DJ here, just reaching out to you. Hey, just wanted to follow up with you.
Just
You
checking in.
just check it. You lose all of your power because now you sound super unimportant. It's just right. It like diminishes everything. And so for those of you that are taking notes on this episode, because there's been some nuggets, write that one down as well. So Liz, I knew this was going to happen. I'm like, anytime I get somebody that's like straight sales on my podcast, I'm like, this could have been a 3-hour Joe Rogan episode, really easy. Let's talk about go to market agency, GTM, which is what go to market. Break that down first. Let's talk about go to market for those that are listening that don't understand what
Yeah.
that is.
GTM is just a really fancy way of saying deciding how to reach out to prospects.
Ta-da.
We do right. Ta-da! I feel like we do so much of that I'm not doing it. I'm not creating these weird gatekeepy terms, but like there's so much of that in like the tech SaaS sales where they just like make
It's
up new
insane.
fancy ways of saying things.
Yes, I went through Endeavor's Skill Up program in 2022, and the number of times because like I've never been afraid to like be sorry. Alexa, stop. It's telling me my next episode's coming up.
Alexa's like, I want to be a part of it.
Yeah. I remember going through Endeavor Scale Up program, and it was like product-led growth, go-to-market strategy. And it was like the first time I was hearing all these tech stuff because I come from a blue-collar background. And I'm like, the number of times I stopped like training calls where I was like, hey, what's that acronym mean? I fly airplanes. I thought we had a lot of acronyms. Like, no, the tech world has a lot of acronyms. So now that we know that that's go-to-market, what is your strategy to get out there into the world? Talk about like what you do if by chance, someone that's in your market is listening. What's the GTM agency, and how'd you decide to do that after leaving corporate America?
Yeah, I will hype myself up. But first, I just want to say for anybody that is thinking about trying to break into tech sales, it was extraordinarily difficult for me to break into tech sales, not because I wasn't extremely qualified. And it turns out when I got there, a hell of a lot better than most of the people around me,
Love
but
that.
I did not speak their language. So if
Mm,
you are trying to break into tech sales and maybe you are finding it difficult because you just simply don't know all the terms, like you can't speak that insider language, take a course, ask ChatGPT to make you a list of like SaaS sales terms.
love that.
That will make such a difference in the quality of your conversations, the amount of interviews you're getting, and even like how you format your resume. So please, I took so many L's before I learned that. So please leapfrog forward based on where I struggled previously. But yes, the sales led go-to-market agency. So working with predominantly 30 to $50 million orgs that generate a lot of their net new revenue from outbound. And like the things that I am primarily hearing right now are, we used to get a ton of inbound leads and now we just don't. So we need to either like stand up outbound so that it really performs, or we need to like do something better with our outbound, because like we can't just be losing revenue and we're not filling our pipeline with inbound leads anymore.
Mm.
Or I get a ton of customers who have just gone through an M&A activity,
Oh,
and it's
okay.
this amazing opportunity to be like, have the like, what got us here won't get us there mindset.
Yep.
And so they just want to level set and like create a fresh strategy with nice new repeatable processes, and then enable both like the mindsets and the skill sets of their team so that they can execute on those processes. So those are the two big reasons that I see people coming to me, which is really, really fun because it's a lot of the mindset of, I realize that we now have an opportunity because of how the market has shifted, or because of how our organization has shifted, to create a fresh new outbound strategy that is much more buyer focused so that we can generate that profitable pipeline.
I love it. I love it. Where can people get your book if they want to grab that?
Yeah, get the book. Woo! Salesledgtm.com/book. Go there. It's like available on every e-commerce platform. But if you go there, I have a step 2 and you can get some like free stuff and we can stay in touch. And then I live on LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn. I post every day at Leslie Venetz. And did we first connect on TikTok? Is that the first place that we became friends?
I couldn't tell you. I have a whole social media team and a whole team that runs my bookings, Leslie. So
I think we might
maybe.
have. Well, if
Okay.
other people want to be friends on TikTok, I'm there as well at Sales Tips Talk.
I love it. I honestly, admittedly, being in the social media space, I try to stay off of TikTok just because
Smart.
I know how good their algorithm is, and
Oh
like
my God,
it will
it's so addictive.
suck you in, man. It will suck you in.
It's
So,
crazy. I even try to reset my algorithm, like every once in a while I'll reset it. And it is terrifying and shocking, but also a little bit delightful how quickly it relearns that I really like to see videos of raccoons.
hey, I got a feeling, Leslie, there's worse things you could be watching on TikTok. So
Fair
you're,
play, fair
you're gonna
play.
you're gonna be okay. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming into the Sales Factory. It went too fast. Lots of good information, plenty of nuggets, plenty of wisdom. Guys, if you haven't yet done it, please subscribe, leave a review to the podcast. It helps me get in front of more entrepreneurs so that we can help more people. And go follow Leslie on LinkedIn and check out her TikToks and grab the book. Leslie, thank you so much for being a guest today in the Sales Factory.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Hustle, it's worth it.